What is going on, everybody? Welcome in HBCU Huddle here in the Built for Tough Studios on Grind City Media. I am CJ Hurt. Follow me on Twitter at ConRadicalness. I am joined, as always, by Mike Wallace. Follow him on Twitter at MyMikeCheck. Mike, what's going on, man?
Hey, look, we got a list. We got some lists. We got some stories. We got some HBCUs going across the pond. You know what I'm saying? Or across the ocean. We got a lot going on, man. I'm looking forward to another great show. Hey, we're turning the calendar, too. February, Black History Month. We got an extra day, February 29th, leap year. But we're going into March, man, and March is special for a number of different reasons, including it's my birthday month. So
turn up, Mike.
I'm looking forward to another great show.
Turn up, Kyra.
Kyra
it's
too?
Kyra's
Okay.
birthday month.
Okay.
How about those Geminis?
Don't say
What are y'all?
Nah, Pisces.
How about those Pisces then?
Pisces. Man, Kyra, you in the first 15 days or the second?
On the 15th.
Oh,
she's
okay.
on the 15th.
Yeah. I know 3 people who have, now 4.
Okay.
Who have birthdays on the 15th. So
nice. Shout out to all the March babies.
Yeah.
Shout out to them. Like you said, Mike, we've got a really fun show. We'll recap the HBCU Legacy Bowl. We'll discuss the Davius Richard injury. We'll talk some. Fred McNair is reportedly
working.
Reportedly.
Or about to work. Again. We'll see.
It's been a week.
We'll see.
I don't think they've gotten him there yet. We'll talk about that more. Plus some big-time honors for Robert Covington, so much more. You brought up, though, Mike, the list that we have. Mm-hmm. We have our Pick 6 this week. Mm-hmm. We're going to choose our 6 favorite sitcoms. But before we do that, A Different World is doing a tour. The cast members from A Different World have decided, you know what? We're going to get together. We're going to do a tour. It starts today, February 29th, in the Auk. Spelman, Morehouse, Clark, Morris Brown. They're going to start there. They're going to be hosting it. It's going to be a panel discussion. As of right now, Howard will host an event, and Alabama State and Tuskegee will put aside their differences and meet up in Montgomery, Alabama, and they will also host the event. Here's who's going to be there, because that's very important, because you can say it's a different world, and then it'd be some of the lesser-known cast members or something like that, and be like, it's a different world. Like, no. Darryl Bell, that's Ron, is there. Charlene Brown, Kim is there. Jasmine Guy Whitley, she's there. Kadeem Hardison, Dwayne, he's there. Dawn Lewis, that is Jaleesa, she's there. Cree Summer, Freddie is there. Glenn Turman, the Colonel. Colonel Taylor's going to be there. And Sinbad, Walter is going to be there. So that's all the major ones.
That's it.
All of them are there. Plus you'll get producers Susan Fales and Debbie Allen.
Man,
they're all going to be there.
That tells me, when I saw that, I said, wow, I wonder how many of them are still around.
Yeah.
And I was happy to see that most of them are still around, right? All of them.
All of them.
All of the main ones that have transcended the show and have gone from the early shows all the way through to the later shows. So it's good to see that cast and that crew is still here. And they're all doing things in different genres and different walks of life too, man. And they've stayed in the entertainment sphere, but they've also gone into business. They've gone into different walks. And I was excited, man. I was excited. And I started thinking, who would be missing? Who am I missing from that? And there's really only 2 people that I would say were sort of seminal in the show that won't be there, that aren't there. And one, obviously, is Lisa Bonet, because the show was created around her character from The Cosby Show. And the other one is Jada Pinkett Smith. Why wouldn't she be involved? Like, I mean, she's going around touring. She got books and all of that other stuff. And she was on the latter shows, right? Yeah. So those are the only 2 names that I can think of that I would say, wow, where are they when I took roll?
Both of them are like one season stars, right? Like Jada was there for one season. She wasn't there for 2, I don't believe.
She might have had like the last 2. I kind of lost track of the show after because it went for 8 years, right? I was surprised it went that long.
Was it that long? I thought. Yeah. Why do I feel like it was only 6 seasons?
It might
be wrong.
Somewhere between
I'll
6
look
and
it
8.
up. Go ahead.
Somewhere between 6 and 8, and I probably lost track right around the last 2 seasons.
Gotcha.
Is when I kind of lost track. Once Dwayne Wayne became a professor, and then they got married. He and Jasmine Guy character got married. I kind of, but it also. I had graduated by then, right? I left college by then. So I was into a different thing at that point. But I want to say it was somewhere between 6 and 8 seasons.
It was 6 seasons, and now I'm going to try and figure out when Jada Pinkett Smith came through, because I feel like she came through that last season. We went back watching TV versus streaming TV, two completely different experiences. TV seasons felt so much longer when you had to watch them on TV and couldn't stream them. You were watching them one at a time. And then, you would catch pauses in there. So the season would pause midway through and it'd be another 2 or 3 months. So one season might feel like a really long time because it's actually spanning more than 1 year. But we sat down and watched them like recently. It still holds up. A different world is still, especially those middle seasons, seasons 2 through 5, Mike, still great. If you hadn't, I don't know, when's the last time you've watched A Different World? Find it, watch it with the family. It is a phenomenal show still to this day. Messaging in that show still rings true today. And
that's what I wanted to get with you about too before we reveal our pick six is what made that show. Like the reason why they're coming back 35 years after. This is the 35th anniversary of the show's creation. So an entire generation has grown up now, grown into adulthood. I was on my way to college and in college when the show was on and live, right?
Yeah.
You caught it in syndication by the time you got through college or whatever, right? From that standpoint.
Yes.
So
I might have caught that last season, but yeah.
Yeah, so that I'm saying when the show was going on, you were too young to really understand the show at the time.
Yeah.
But what it did, though, it links our generations. So what is it that was so transcendent about that show to you? I know what it was for me, but I'll ask you first. For it to be something that is kind of iconic when you think about it. What was it that stood out about the show to you?
Just black people having fun. Just so much about the black experience feels so dire. Feels so life or death, at least the way it was explained to me. Felt like, hey, you've got to be X because you represent not just you, me, your extended family. You represent all of blackness and all of black people. So you need to be more mindful about how you're carrying yourself and the things you're doing. I'll never forget the first time I had a conversation like that. I was playing soccer at 8 or 9 years old, and I was frustrated. My teammates they were terrible. They were awful. And I was letting people know that they were terrible. My dad was like, hey, you need to stop because there are no other black people out here. And they think that's how all black people act. It was like, oh, okay, I'll calm it down. And then I turn on A Different World. And they're doing goofy stuff. They're not studying when they're supposed to be studying. They're cramming. They're having fun in the dorm rooms. It was just one of those shows where I felt like they got to let their guard down and not be black. They got to just be. And that's so very, very important. And it was so much fun to see. And to go back and rewatch it, it's still really, really fun to see.
Yeah. Nah, man, it's to hear you articulate it that way, it's personal to all of us, right? For me, this show came out at a time when, I grew up in inner city Washington, D.C., right? I don't recall anybody in my family any males in my family going off to college, right? That just wasn't, I had male relatives who went into the military, I had male relatives who went into the penitentiary, right? I had male relatives who didn't make it into their middle 20s. So what that era did for me was I align it with Boys in the Hood. Right, Boys in the Hood came out. I remember being in the 10th or 11th grade, and I sympathized more with Ricky because I was an athlete at the time, and when everything was about getting to college, and then Ricky didn't make it to college. Right, Different World came out, and it was almost like the expectation for African Americans to be in college was like, hey, that's not a choice. You're supposed to go to college. Let's get you to college. And The Cosby Show did it in such a way where it made it okay to understand that. Although, and it's funny how you think about this, and I know we're going to get to the pick six, but I used to resent The Cosby Show in real time because I was like, that family doesn't look like mine. Like, didn't nobody get a beating? No whippings. Nobody got punished. Everything ended with everybody eating at the table.
People got punished. Hold on, wait. Claire got in Vanessa's ass when she went down to see The Wretched and had big fun. There was that they got a pun. They didn't. The punishment didn't last multiple shows, right? There was discipline there.
And see, and that's the thing. That wasn't the level of discipline I was accustomed to.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
That was done purposefully, by the way.
When Theo forgot to take the check to the college to reserve his dorm, like, there's no coming back home saying, I forgot the check. I don't have a place to stay at NYU. No.
Damn it, that boy Theo was special, wasn't he?
And then when Denise just said, you know what, I don't want to quit school. I just want to go get a regular job.
Yeah.
Like, that didn't exist in my household. So at any point,
I got you. I follow.
I don't want to belabor that. It's kind of funny, but the thing about it is that it gave once A Different World had to spin off. It was like, okay, man, this is a natural progression. Mm-hmm. Let me get to a place where I can find my identity. I can live on my own. I can create my circle of friends and have that sense of independence and responsibility. And that's why I went as far as I did. I was like, hold on, Hillman. Okay, Hillman didn't have to really exist, but Hillman took a piece from every campus that I've come to know since then. So that's why that show is iconic, because it put into my head and a lot of people that, hey, as an African American, we need to be on a college campus if at all possible, and to thrive from there moving forward.
And just, hey, this is, while there were a ton of black people on that show.
Yeah.
They were all very, very different types of black. And whatever type of black you are, it's fine. There's a college. There is a college for you. There's a place on the college campus for you to exist, right?
To find yourself. Because
find
you don't know what you say kind of black. You know, I understand exactly what you're saying, but just find your lane.
Yeah. Like,
you don't have to be super studious.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You could be the person barely hanging on. There's been plenty of times, man, where, you know, I had a partner, man, at Grambling, and, you know, he would stay enrolled in classes as long as it took to get the refund check.
Yep.
Then he was dropping. Right? Then he was dropping out of classes until the next semester, and he did the same thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, he was like, ma'am, I know my mom and I'm wondering why it's taking me so long to get through sophomore year. Right. He was like a third year sophomore who took 3 years as a sophomore.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's there for everybody, man. So you can find your way. And, you know, some people are probably still in that area now when I was there, you know, all of those years ago. But at any rate, man, we got a great show to continue from here. But it's just nostalgic when we can talk about a show as great and prolific as A Different World was to all of us.
Look forward to seeing the other tour dates that they add, and it got us to thinking about some of our 6 favorite black sitcoms. Before we get to the list, I want to say that these types of lists, 6 favorite black TV shows, I love doing these lists, 5 favorite, 10 favorite, whatever. I love doing these lists. I like doing these lists more than I like favorite rappers all time, favorite musicians all time, favorite like basketball player, best basketball player, football player, whatever the list is. This list feels fun. I've done this list. We all have. We've had these conversations before many a time, and it doesn't ever really feel like it gets personal. It's like, okay, your list is different from mine, but damn it, that's a damn good list type of thing. So without any further ado, we're going to start in inverse order. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mike, number 6 for you. You go
man,
first.
You
number
were ready,
6.
man. Like, that's the thing about CJ. Like, CJ was ready. And I'm going to need some help pulling up my list. No, I got it right here.
You got it?
Number 6. It starts off with A Different World,
okay.
The show that we're talking about. When you first challenged me to come up with my list, I knew that, you know, Different World was going to be on there. But as I kept thinking about it, it kept moving a little bit further and further back. So A Different World, for all the reasons that we just explained, is on my list at number 6 right there. Number 5, In Living Color. That was the variety show.
Yes.
If you just wanted to just laugh your tail off from start to finish, that was the show to do it on. So many people, so many of the comedians that were popular in the 90s and the early 2000s all came through Living Color. That was the show that basically was the modern or more modern version of Saturday Night Live for mostly blacks. So credit to the Wayans family for creating it, and all of the Jennifer Lopez was a dancer on the show. Yeah, Fly Girl at the beginning, and it was just, you know, it was just funny. Tommy Davidson, David Allen Greer, you know, all the Wayans family. Jamie Foxx. I mean, it just the list goes on and on and on. So Living Color was must-watch TV for me.
Why am I blanking on the eldest Wayne? Wayne.
Keenan Ivory Wayans.
Keenan Ivory.
Yeah, Keenan Ivory.
The
Wayans.
one who set the whole
Marlon,
family on.
Sean, Keenan Ivory,
Damon,
Kim. Yep. Kim Wayans. Yep.
And now there's Damon Jr.
Sean.
Damon Jr.'s out acting now.
Yeah, it's another generation.
That show, Mike, was so ahead of its time with pushing the envelope, and it felt you called it the more modern SNL.
Yeah.
And there was a reason why SNL had been around, but it didn't feel like it was keeping up with the times or with the culture. Since then, I think that SNL has done a much better job of reaching out to writers and actors across spectrums, right? You look at SNL right now, and it's as diverse as it's ever been. And I think that the way that Living Color came through and really blew the doors off of it, forced SNL to take a long, hard look at itself. Also, we don't get Super Bowl halftime shows without this show. we don't, because they looked up and they said, "Hey, why would you watch halftime of the Super Bowl? Why would you watch that? Nothing's going on. They're just going to be doing analyst type stuff. Why would you watch that? Come over for 15 minutes and watch us." And the people clicked over, and some of them didn't click back. And the NFL looked around and said, "Oh, no.
This can't happen.
We can't have this." And so, boom, we have to give the people some form of entertainment to keep them here through halftime. That's how big In Living Color was. Those are the types of things In Living Color did, and we did not even mention Jim Carrey, did we?
No, and he was in there. We didn't even mention him. Right.
Just a stacked cast.
Right. And to this day, like all of them, elevated from there, and it was black producers, black directors, black writers, obviously African American stars, female, male. It didn't matter what your talent was, you had a spot and a place on that show. So that was my number.
Interesting. I'm not sure if I call that a sitcom, but we're gonna roll with it.
Yeah, we got to roll with it. Number 4, Rock. See, now that might have been more a dramatic sitcom because it was always a hard lesson in it somewhere.
My dad loved Rock.
Charles Dutton, man, I just, I think he was so underrated, and I wish he could have gotten more of his flowers for what he's been able to do across multiple genres, and especially on this show. I love the show. It was set in Baltimore. It was a working class family. He was a garbage truck man, and his brother was always like bouncing between jobs, and it was just a good family show, and it was funny. It was funny because the pops and the brother always kept the comedy going. So Rock and Charles Dutton, man, I used to love that show coming up.
When I look at some of these shows, it amazes me how the people behind the scenes, that's really who I like. Right? Like it is, like sure, Rock, my dad loved Rock. I was young. I remember Rock fondly. I don't remember all the particulars, but I remember it fondly. Stan Lathan had a heavy hand in Rock. And when I go through my list, there will be a show that comes up that he also had a very heavy hand in. The Stan Lathans of the world, the Debbie Allens of the world, Yvette Lee Bowsers of the world, the Larry Wilmores of the world. It amazes me how I'll be watching shows like, I really like this show. And then at the end of it, it'll say directed by, produced by, what have you. Be like, damn wonder. Larry Wilmore's on this. No wonder I like this show so much.
Oh, no question about it, man. And then my top 3, right?
Here we go.
I'm going to go straight through the top 3 right here because I want to get to yours as well. These are all legendary. Sanford and Son, What's Happening at number 2, and number 1, Good Times. Right? So all 3 of those were late 70s, early 80s from that standpoint. And those were the ones that, when I was, a little kid, right? Those were the ones that you would come home. Like I remember coming home from school, loving to watch What's Happening, right? I remember, inheriting Sanford and Son from my grandmom and my uncles and them. Good Times, that just, you saw growing up in the projects, living in a place that looked like that, you felt like that was your show, right? Now, I can't figure out how every single time they were on the edge of moving out, something happened. Something happened. Somebody broke their leg. Keith, he got drafted, then broke his leg.
Yep.
JJ was a hell of an artist and could never get a break. Michael was so talented it was like, and then James died, man.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Damn.
You know what I mean? Janet Jackson, Lil Penny was on there. Everybody had a crush on Valona. Everybody had a crush on Thelma. It was like, come on, yo. Good Times was it for me. And then you talk about still standing the test of time. What's Happening is funny because of the popping and locking from Raj rerun, right? Big Shirley. And then, again, like I said, it's Sanford and Son, You Big Dummy, Lamont, and Fred G. Sanford, man.
Like, those three shows
that they just all go there, right?
Are at the forefront of black people being on television, having their own. Yeah. Right? It's them. Throw the Jeffersons in there.
Yeah, Jefferson made my honorable mention. Flip Wilson show was in there as well too. I Spy with Cosby, that was more of a drama from that standpoint. But yeah, that was it. Those were the on ramps to black television. Give Me a Break with Nell Carter. She was in there. Webster.
Those
Webster.
Are some others.
Yeah.
How'd I forget about Webster?
Yeah. So you had some classics. I love Amen, 227. Both of them, man. But you can only have 6. I had to pick 6. My pick 6 is that's what we got right there.
That's an incredible pick 6. And the fun thing about doing this is it shows. It's a good indicator of age.
Yeah.
Right? Like it shows like what you were watching when you were a kid, and then we can roughly place where you were. Let's get to mine. We'll start at number 6 with me. Speaking of the Wayans family, give me My Wife and Kids. Give me the Michael Kyle signature moments.
Yeah.
Give me Junior and Claire. Give me the sweet little baby. Give me Franklin. This show is so funny to me. Went back and watched this show as well recently, maybe 2021, 2022. Can't really remember. Still funny. Laughed, knew what was coming because I had seen it multiple times when it was on. Knew what was coming and still laughed out loud. Laughed out loud when I realized what was about to happen and laughed out loud when it happened. Just goofiness at every single turn. We're going to Pebble Beach. What you say? So I'm going to Pebble Beach. Beach? Like, no, what? Like, so good. So good. Give me My Wife and Kids. The Steve Harvey Show is number 5 for me, showing black educators. Mike, I didn't have black teachers. Elementary school, Steve Harvey Show was out around elementary school for me. Middle school, when I got to 6th grade, I had 2 black teachers, right? We had started switching classes at that point. I left in 7th grade, left Clarksville, Tennessee, having only had 3 black teachers from kindergarten through 7th grade. And one of them retired middle of the year. So of all the teachers I had, I think we were on the 6-period system. So 12 classes of middle school for me in Clarksville. There were 2 black teachers that I had none in elementary school. Take that back. I got moved to one because some stuff popped off with my mom, and my original teacher got moved to one, so 3. We'll say 4 black teachers from kindergarten through 7th grade, and we started switching classes. And then I got to Montgomery Bell Academy, and I did not have any more black teachers. I didn't have any more. So my whole educational career in primary school, from elementary all the way through high school, I had 4. A TV show with black teachers, with a strong black principal, with a really smart secretary who did have a little hood tendencies, which was fine. Like it changed the way I viewed some of the things going on in my life, right? Like you can talk with an accent, you can talk with a twang, you can use slang words. And when I was a kid, it'd be like, oh no, this person isn't articulate enough. They're not smart. And after seeing that show, I was like, oh no. They're smart. They just talk different than me. Let's go. Yeah. This is beautiful. This is a beautiful form of language. The relationship between Steve and the principal, Piggy, was superb. The relationship between Steve and his roommate, Cedric, when the funk hits the fan. Oh, I love it. Break me off a piece of that funk. 2 of my favorite TV show fictional songs. Shout out to the High Tops, Steve Harvey Show, Stan Lathan. I don't know if I pointed that at the beginning. Directed it, created it. It's 120-something episodes, I do believe, of Steve Harvey Show. He had his hands on. Give me the Steve Harvey Show.
And see, before you go to your next one right there, let me just comment real quick on those 2. My Wife and Kids, star of that, Damon Wayans. That was his offshoot from In Living Color. Like he had movies after In Living Color, but then he came back for the sitcom right there, right?
Yes.
And then the Steve Harvey Show, it was so similar to Hanging with Mr. Cooper.
Oh,
right. So similar.
Honorable mention.
So similar. So it was almost like, and some people have accused in this gotcha society we're in now, Steve Harvey of stealing the script and the creative license from Hanging with Mr. Cooper. But go ahead from there.
I thought that it was the joke. There's beef with Curry and Harvey because Harvey has stolen jokes from Curry. I'm not sure if it's the whole show thing.
The format,
But like Both of those shows are great.
right. That's what we're here. We're here to celebrate.
I love
yes.
And again, you bring up Hanging with Mr. Cooper. Jaleesa was in that for the first couple of seasons. Wow. Not the character, the actress.
I know what you're saying. Right.
She was in that.
Dawn Lewis, right?
Yes, she was in that for the 1st couple of seasons, right? Like it's just talented people continuing to do talented things. I really appreciate that. Again, on the Stan Lathan thing, keep rolling. We'll go Martin. Stan Lathan produced and directed the Martin reunion. I think he directed a couple of episodes of the show as well. And My Wife and Kids, Gina. And she grew up and became the mom on My Wife and Kids. Like, oh, so good.
You said grew up. She was an adult on Martin.
Yeah. Mike, check this out. Being 20-something and being 30-something. Like
That's two different things.
You've grown the hell up. You've grown the hell up.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what age she was.
She wasn't a
on
mother.
My Wife and Kids.
She wasn't a mother.
She wasn't a mother on Martin.
She was a full-blown
mother on My Wife and Kids.
Absolutely.
It's just so much fun on both shows. Both shows. Martin is great. We're making our way through Martin right now, and I wasn't sure. Right, like you start watching these shows, and it's like, okay, is it gonna hold up? How bad is it going to be? I remember a lot of shenanigans happening. No. Nothing really offensive about it. Martin is just dumb, and they get into dumb trouble sometimes.
That's it.
It's good stuff. Yeah. Number 3, Bernie Mac show.
Yes.
My niece, like I remember being a teenager watching the Bernie Mac show. My niece, when she was 3 or 4, her favorite show to watch was the Bernie Mac show, and she would call him Uncle Bernie. She'd be like, "Hey, Uncle CJ, put it on Uncle Bernie." Like, I got you, dog. Let's sit down and watch this. I really enjoyed that show, and I think that it's obviously it's based off of a couple of jokes he has in his comedy special, and it shows a softer side of those jokes, where the jokes are, these kids are annoying, I'm gonna kick them all out of the house, that 5-year-old she's got to go, and then you watch the show, and he's being patient, he's trying to talk to them, he's trying to reason with them, they're not really listening, he's trying his best not to lose his cool on them. It's a great show. I love it so very much. Number 2 for me, Living Single. I love Living Single because it showed young black professionals across multiple walks of life. You had handyman, you had stockbroker, you had attorneys, you had editors, like you had people who they did their jobs, they were good at their jobs, they enjoyed doing their jobs, they weren't defined by their jobs, and it showed me that, hey, there is, no matter how serious the job, the person doing the job is probably just a regular person. Right? It's probably just a Khadijah, right? Like Khadijah comes in, she sits down, and she's doing work. You got to take her seriously at work. Then she gets to the apartment, and now she and Regine are into it about who forgot to close the fridge or something goofy like that, right? It showed me that there was a bit of fun in everybody, no matter how serious the role. And I love that for that show. Also, Overton and Sinclair, those are my couple goals right there. I love how much they love one another and how they go about showing their love. And number 1 for me, Mike, is A Different World. Is A Different World. A Different World is number 1 for me. I remember, because I had to catch most of it in syndication, because I was so young. I was, born when it came out. And so when it goes off, I was like 5 in 93. In syndication, though, my dad worked at Charter Communications. And so he would work nights because he was in school during the day and he was coaching us and just being around. But in the summertime, he would wake me up like 3 o'clock in the morning when he got home. He'd have pizza sticks from Dodge's. Like, come on, let's watch some TV together. And we'd sit down and we'd watch A Different World for an hour. And we would watch the A Different World episodes, man. Watch what Dwayne Wayne had going on. Watch what Ron was doing. Watch Freddie and them. And we would laugh and we would talk. And life lessons and what have you would be had. Pizza sticks. Watch the show. And then go back to sleep. Like, that's why my sleep cycle is messed up. That's why I be up at like 3 o'clock in the morning every morning. Because as a kid, I would wake up excited about the pizza sticks in A Different World.
Man, you know what? That list, and keep that list up there too, because, again, like I commented on the first 2 shows. Martin, I think Martin is the show that kind of links both of our generations, right? Because I was a young adult, starting off and having jobs and all of that when Martin was coming on and you were coming through school at that time. So I think that show caught both of us, right in the sweet spot right there. the Bernie Mac show, and I just recently read, and y'all try to read a book a month, and one of the books I've always wanted to read since he passed tragically at such a young age was Sometimes I Cry, right? And or Maybe You Never Cry Again was the name of the book. I'm sorry, I messed up the title. Maybe You Never Cry Again. And it was his sort of autobiography. And he talked about creating that show and what he had to go through to get to that show. And it became sort of the living example of his routine, his comedy routine. Mm-hmm. But it also touched on his life personally too, because he had a sister and a cousin who he had to take in some of her kids instead of having them go into the foster care system.
Yeah.
So it came from a real place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? His pain and his comedy all came from genuine places, and that's what made Bernie Mac such a special guy right there. Living Single, I always felt like, hey, this is the African-American black counter to Friends, right? I mean, Friends was, basically all white, young professionals living in a major city, finding their way together. Living Single was the same exact thing. And sometimes I think it was like, we have to show our stories. We're not so different. Why couldn't Friends have been, there could have been 3 or 4 black friends as part of that cast. Now, I keep hearing that eventually there was a black friend towards the end of the episodes, but Living Single did it a different way.
There was one black friend, girlfriend, who was there for a little. Shout out Aisha Taylor.
Okay, so she
was there. She was there for a handful of episodes.
Yeah. So Living Single kind of gave you the other side of it, in that, hey, we could do this too. We're professionals and everything from there.
I think Living Single was first also. Like Living Single came out and then Friends followed behind it. It
may have been. I know it was pretty close though.
Yeah.
I know it was pretty close.
Yeah,
And then A Different World. That was 6 on my list. That was 1 on your list. And I think that was the one show that linked both of our lists. And it's fitting because we didn't plan it for it to be that way. It just ended up being that way, man. And again, shout out to the cast, the crew, the creators of A Different World. And I'm looking forward to seeing some of the videos and the social media posts that come from their tour that they're on. And I hope to make it, man. Hopefully it'll come somewhere close where we'll be able to see it. Come on over to Jackson State, swing through Nashville to Tennessee State or something. Give us a shot to be able to see that too. And I hope they can add more dates to that because it's very important right now.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Kyra, so here's what we're going to do. Forgive me, y'all. We've got to do this for the commercial spot because I want to make this a spot. You're going to throw up Mike's list, his full list, and then you're going to throw up my full list. I'll call for it. I got to set it up like I'm doing a spot. Hold on. Wait a second.
This is real deal.
All right. We got a great show lined up for you. We're going to show you our favorite black sitcoms. I stumbled.
See?
Oh, no.
See, you can't do retakes on live and
we got
live to tape.
Live to tape. Like we can
Let's back it up one more time.
All right, here we go. I got it this time. All right, now it's time for our pick 6. This week we're looking at our favorite black sitcoms. Mike, what do you got on your list?
Oh, man, I got my list goes from, it starts with Different World at number 6, right? In Living Color, that was one of the most fabulous shows that you can ever imagine. Saturday Night Live reimagined. Rock, Charles S. Dutton did his thing in that show. Sanford and Son, What's Happening in Good Times, all from the late 70s to the early 80s. All 3 of them are classic sitcoms that just basically we all grew up on.
And here are my 6, My Wife and Kids, The Steve Harvey Show, Martin, The Bernie Mac Show, Living Single, and A Different World. All right. I'm going to send that to Courtney. He's going to clip that off and make us a nice little promo to run during Grizz games and on Grind City Media. Don't go anywhere. We got a great second half of the show to get to, a lot of popular stories. Plus, we'll get that Mississippi Valley State call, the game winner. Well, not the game winner, their first win of the season. We'll get that call for you guys, plus so much more. You're listening to HBCU Huddle right here in the Built Ford Tough Studios on Grind City Media.
Vince Williams is going to go to All-Star Weekend. Now, what a great thing for him.
Kudos to Vince Williams Jr. He was an injury replacement on the Panini Rising Stars. He'll get a chance to be part of the All-Star Weekend showcase.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizzbeat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
It's always great playing here. Whenever I did play here, coming back, it was one of the reasons why I chose to come back here.
Yes, and Rose sniping the steal, goes up against Murray and scores.
I love the atmosphere. I love the arena.
Fast break basketball. Roddy, the next form is rocking.
I want to be a part of it, so that's one of the reasons why I came.
Kayla sent in this picture, so we're gonna show you guys. I just want to get your initial thoughts.
Oh, wow.
If one of you walked in with this, who would you be least surprised wearing these boots?
The least surprised word? Bennett. Bennett?
No.
Bennett, definitely surprised word. No.
He's probably seen somebody at a rock concert wearing something like this.
Least surprise? Okay, I gotta go with the gang, Bennett.
The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Mark Gasol, man, let me give y'all a quick story, man. He is the first person to taught me swing. When you get that thing, Tony Allen, just remember, swing every time. And so a lot of times, he would get it on his end. It'll get time for him to swing, and he'll look to the corner. He'll just shoot it.
Do you think that
he ran out of swing?
The Chris Vernon Show, presented by Caesars Sportsbook, live weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
And Andre, that's game! And that will be game! And that will be game! And that's that first win! We're storming the court! We're storming the court! We're storming the court! Oh my God! Oh my God! That's a complex! Delta Devils pick up their first win! Delta Devils pick up their first win! Shout out Coach Ivory! And the Delta Devils will improve to 1-27, 1-14. In a swag! What is you saying? The Mississippi Valley Delta Devils are currently on a one-game winning streak. With that game, the Prairie View Panthers will fall to 10 and 16, 5-10 the swag. The Mississippi Valley Delta Devils will improve to 1-27. What a senior night. 1-14 the swag. Let's go! Win led by no one other than Raekwon Brown. Why, thank you, my guy. Host of Delta Devils and double figures tonight, and everyone just contributed to this win. And big shout out AD Hakeem McClellan. Big shout out Kyle, Rapid Play Production. Big shout out to B-Club. Shout out to JR behind the camera. Shout out to everybody who's a part of this production company. Shout out to Andre Williams, my partner, my business partner. Big shout out to Caleb. Big shout out to Coach Ivory. Big shout out to the SWAC. Big shout out MVSU Beat Club. Valley Sports Network. Until next time, baby. Man, we love you, baby.
Mike, that was the call. Mississippi Valley State, first win of the year against Prairie View A&M. They stormed the court, all 15 of them, Mike. All 15 stormed the court.
Bless they heart, man.
Not a bless they heart.
Bless they heart,
Not
man.
a bless they heart,
Bless they
Mike.
heart, man. Hey, you know what? And those are student broadcasters, and you want to have so much fun. I love the energy. I love the fact that they just have fun with it. I couldn't understand, but every third word that brother was saying, I knew he was excited. You're yelling into, but they're gonna learn the technical aspects of broadcasting, right?
That's the point of that.
But the thing is, they need to have that same. I'm not mad at all with them, right? And the thing is, man, goodness gracious, yo, you could tell that they don't win much down there, right? In any sport, right? When it comes to the major sports, and that's not taking a shot at Valley. That's just the reality that Valley is. But beautiful facility and beautiful, shirts. They had everything that they needed, man. And it's yeah. Bless their heart, man.
One game win streak got me.
Bless.
I was good until one game. Every time I hear one game win streak, this is late into the college basketball season. I fall out.
My man gave special shout outs to
Big shout outs.
Big shout outs to everybody. Right? Everybody, right? I mean, it was like, dude from the camera, my man over here, right here, the dude that's, I'm like, man, this dude is happy, man, but good. I hope they continue that energy, man. It makes me want to go down there and dap them young brothers up and say, look, yo, keep it up. Keep doing that. Keep doing that,
and
man.
We're in a bit of this right now up here in Memphis with the Grizzlies, where when things aren't necessarily going well, what do you do? How do you approach this? How do you handle this? And for them to approach it and handle it like that with that much energy, it could have just been a regular call. It could have been like, finally, Delta Devils get one win on an otherwise miserable season.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's going to mean. They don't move up in the standings at all. They probably aren't in the SWAC tournament, or if they are in the SWAC tournament, I'm not sure how the tournament is seeded.
Yeah.
They'll probably be out of there early, but for today, they got to win. Thank you guys so much for listening. No, they're excited. My guy, they're excited.
I'm just saying, man, you're right, though, bro. Like, when you
one
look
game
at
win streak, Mike.
One game win streak, and they're storming the court. Nah, they're kind of leaking onto the court. They're sprinkling onto the court, right? They storm.
Everybody who walked onto that court could fit in this studio, right? Like, it's not and we could get them all on camera. It wasn't a whole lot of people in there, and this is a small studio.
Nah, because they didn't even disrupt Prairie View's exit, right?
No.
Usually, you storm the court, guys got to figure out a way to get
Kyra,
back
show
to
the whole
room.
studio so everybody can see it. What interrupted Prairie View A&M's exit was the coach, like, what is going on? What's happening over here?
Yeah,
like, look, everybody who stormed the court could fit in here.
Storm the studio.
We could get
now,
chairs.
That's a storm studio. They stormed the studio.
They stormed the studio.
But the court, they kind of just trickled onto
the court. They trickled onto a slow drip, a slow drizzle, a sprinkling onto the court. Still love that call. It's great.
Absolutely,
Shout out to the Delta Devils of Mississippi Valley State for their first win of the season. HBCU Legacy Bowl, the third annual contest, was this weekend. Team Gaither beat Team Robinson 10-6. North Carolina Central's Davius Richard was named offensive MVP. Alabama A&M's Zarion Hayes was named defensive MVP. 70 players participated in this event. Mike, before we get to the big news out of this, the Davius Richard injury, what were some of your takeaways from the event?
I love the way that they did an entire week of festivities, college fairs, job fairs.
Mm-hmm.
They showcased everything that's going on with these athletes, with the training, with the trainers, the coaches. They really, really did it right in New Orleans. Credit to Tulane for hosting the game. And I was just all of the NBA teams and all of the local corporations that are affiliated with this. I mean, it's really a global impact because people went there to find jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And when you talk about the New Orleans Saints and Pelicans having, hiring events there, NBA teams, Major League Baseball, they really put not only the athletes on showcase, but they also put black college students on showcase and alumni on showcase. So that made it worthwhile to me. I really wish, the schedule would align where, maybe next year I can go down there and be a part of that and see that in real life action. But as you said before, it's one of those things where there's a little bit of a bittersweet sense to this story too, because there's another side, another development that happened as well. But on the front side of it, what were your thoughts? I just thought it was really, really well done and really, really well sponsored.
I think it gets better every year.
Mm-hmm.
And anytime you can get everybody gathered in one spot, that makes it much easier, much more likely NFL teams send somebody down to scout.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not just scouting players for two teams. You're scouting players from 20, 30 teams, right? 40 teams. So there's you can everybody's looking for a diamond in the rough. If you put more diamonds in that rough, everybody comes through, right? And that's just how it is. I think that this was one of the really good things that Coach Deion Sanders did while at Jackson State.
Yeah.
When they did their pro day, he was open to having players come from Alcorn State, Mississippi Valley State, from wherever. Hey, just get here and you can participate in this pro day. They're already going to be here looking at some of these Jackson State players. They'll be here looking at them. They'll see you. They'll probably like what they see, right? We just need to gather all of the talent in one spot to get more people down here. And I think that this does a great job of doing it. Like you said, unfortunately, whenever you have one of these type of games, these showcases, injury is always a possibility. Most of the time, everybody leaves relatively healthy, relatively unscathed. Davius Richard won offensive MVP because he went on an opening 76-yard touchdown drive on 5 plays. Only touchdown scored in the game, completed 2 passes for 52 yards on the drive, and capped it off with a 4-yard touchdown run. And on the touchdown run, he ends up getting his ankle rolled up on, or he ends up not getting rolled up on. He ends up getting bent awkwardly and ends up having a what looks like a pretty significant, what looked like at the time a pretty significant injury. Afterwards, I do believe his representatives was like, yeah, Davis is going to be fine. It's not near as bad as the video will make it look. But this is kind of the risk you take. I feel like he's got to be out there because he's got to showcase what he can do in front of NFL scouts, as you see it get rolled up on right there. But it doesn't make the injury any less alarming, scary, concerning for Davius Richard.
What the reports are is that he dislocated his ankle, and he's going to be out 4 to 6 months or something like that. That takes him out of the equation for any kind of workouts, any kind of draft, pre-draft camps, workouts, mini camps, the whole situation. He's basically going to have to do a post-career red shirt and then try to get back for next season when it comes to how things are lining up. It's unfortunate because he's one of the greatest black college players that we've seen come along in quite some time for what he's done at North Carolina Central, leading them to a championship the previous year, and just remarkable stats, all-world stats, record setter this past year. His coach, Trey Oliver, was very critical coming out of that after seeing his quarterback.
He said, quote, "I promise he wouldn't have played if I knew those dumbass coaches were going to run him. He should have never left the pocket. You want to run, hand it off to those All-American backs, make it make sense."
I felt like this, and Trey Oliver, the coach at North Carolina Central, has since deleted that tweet.
And apologized. Because what he's doing is he's attacking the integrity of the coaching staffs that were there. And all of those coaches are phenomenal, fabulous coaches. They would not have wanted to intentionally put any player in harm's way. Yeah.
But when you're playing football, no matter what, you're in harm's way.
Yeah.
He could have dropped back and made a pass and got sacked or got chased out of the pocket and still would have ended up in that situation. So calling a run play is no different than calling a rollout, scramble, or read option. You just never know where you're going to get hurt. The question is, should he have even played in the game? Is the game even necessary? And someone else on social media who fashions himself as somewhat of a scout or connected to scouting in the NFL said that game, there are no legitimate draft prospects at that game. So even the best potential free agent signees are putting themselves in great danger by even participating in that game. There are 2 or 3 all-star postseason football games that everyone should play in, the Shrine, the Senior Bowl. But other than that, it's too big of a risk. I don't know if I go that far, but I will say it's just a freak thing that happens, man. Like Paul George shattered his foot playing for Team USA in the summer,
Gordon
a decade
Hayward
or so ago. Those things tend to happen. And you don't want to put yourself in a bad situation when it comes to that, but it's part of the game, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, it is. I think it was the right decision to be, at the very least, I think everybody can say, be there for that week.
Yeah.
He had a great week of practice from what the reports are coming out of there. Some scouts were comparing him to Tavares Jackson, out of Alabama State. And that's good. That's what you want coming out of there. You just want to come out with your health. Unfortunately, he got the ankle dislocated. He got rolled up on out 6 months, and that is going to have an effect on, I don't want to say draft because I'm not sure he was getting drafted anyway,
right?
But it will have an effect on opportunities to play at the next level. Come in as a free agent signing and battle your way onto a roster as that third, maybe even a backup quarterback spot. But luckily for him, there are other professional leagues. It's not the NFL.
Right.
It's not the NFL.
Right.
But if you can get to what's the new one? USL.
The combination of
XFL, USFL combined. If you can get there,
which is a spring league, and you have a year from now
to heal up. A year from now to get on one of those. We've seen players this year and in years past go from one of those leagues to on NFL rosters, and that's all you can ask for is the opportunity. He was named Black College Player of the Year. He did get that honor.
Right.
Along with Jeremy Musa, first time since the award came out, I do believe that there have been co-players of the year. Mike Davius Richard, just a couple of things on him. 21 passing touchdowns, was top 20 in the nation. Musa's 22 passing touchdowns was tied for 13th most in the nation. Davius Richard was second in the nation with 234 points, responsible for Jeremy Musa, Celebration Bowl champion, had the team success, whereas Davius Richard had more of the individual success. They didn't get to face off in the Celebration Bowl because Howard ended up knocking off North Carolina Central and deserved to go to the Celebration Bowl. What do you think about the co-champs? Co-players of the year.
Co-players of the year. Those are my two. You know what I mean? And I think, you got to go with the championship quarterback who led the Rattlers to their greatest season, one of the greatest seasons in I was about to say franchise, but program history. Mm-hmm. And then Davius Richard is the most prolific player in black college football. So both of those guys are well-deserved. And you just want to see them continue to have the game mean something to them and take their opportunities to the next level. We'll see. Davius is going to have to wait a little bit, but Jeremy Musa will have a chance to at least try to work his way into some kind of camp and see if he can make something good out of his career from here.
Absolutely. Fred McNair is stop me. Yeah, stop me if you heard this before I get going.
Yeah.
Reports are saying Fred McNair is expected to go to Southern and join that coaching staff. Mm-hmm. Do we believe it? Is this going to happen? Because this report came out a week ago, and I haven't seen any news on Southern's added Fred McNair to the staff. Are we sure this time that is going to happen?
I hope so, and I hope that Southern, if they are going to hire Fred, that they do him some justice and confirm the hiring so that this won't just linger out there and he just ends up as a coordinator somewhere. Now, Southern did make a coaching change. He probably could have gotten that job had he known that it was going to be available, during that transition. He probably would have gone to Southern ahead of Texas Southern, now that I even think about it from that standpoint.
But, I mean, that Southern thing, they were high off the win over Grambling. And it was like, you won, you stay, baby.
You stay, yeah.
You got it.
It was never even an opportunity for him to get it. But we all talked about this, man. And I had reached out to some people and tracked down Fred's updated number, and I was willing and I wanted to see if he would be interested in coming to join us going into next season. Kind of just checking in with us to let us know how he's watching and how he sees the season going. But obviously, this is a football coach. Mm-hmm. He wants to coach football.
Yeah.
And Southern is going to give him a chance if this thing goes through. Like you said, I'll believe it when I look up on their website and look on their football page and he's listed on the staff. When that happens, then it's all good. But, again, I think Fred will be a head coach somewhere pretty soon. Right now, he just needs to have a stopover, and then he'll get back out there again.
Thinking about, and I went back and listened to the interview we did with Coach McNair at SWAC Media Days, and just thinking about it, he'll be a coach next year. Mm-hmm. Where is the question? Mm-hmm. Is it Southern? Expected to be Southern at this point, as we sit here February 29th, but there's no guarantee until it's signed on the dotted line. The Texas Southern thing showed us that. I think that he is just a football guy, like you said. And if it is high school football on somebody's high school staff, middle school, Pop Warner, that's what he's going to be doing. He's going to be out there coaching up the 7, 8, 9-year-old young men as they play Pee-wee football, getting them ready, that next crop of great football players. That's what he will more than likely do. I'm not sure how much the analyst stuff works, although if you want to come be an analyst on this show, we'd love to have you, Coach. I'm not sure how interested he is in the analyst side of things. I think he just wants to – there's a smell that football practice has. And if you've played football, if you cover football, if you were a trainer or a cheerleader or a band member during football season, you know that smell in the off season and during the season where you walk on the field, take a deep breath. I can't describe it, but damn it smells like football. And I think he loves that smell, and he wants to be as close to that smell as humanly possible, regardless of age, FCS, FBS, D2, D3, NAI, regardless of any of that. He just wants to be where that smell is the most potent. So if the Southern thing falls through, it wouldn't surprise me in the least to look up and Fred McNair is coaching offensive coordinator at random Mississippi high school, right? Or a head coach at random Mississippi middle school, right? Like, that's just what I think he is at this point.
Yeah, and until he gets his next
until he gets the next college opportunity.
Right. So,
Absolutely.
I mean, Southern is there are a lot of worse places to be than an offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator at Southern. He knows what he's doing. He knows the league. He knows that recruiting area as well, too. And, that could be a juggernaut, man. If Fred is your head coach, you're doing something great. Mm-hmm. If he's your assistant coach, man, or your coordinator, then, I mean, like, come on. Like, you're cheating the system in that kind of situation. So, one way or another, I wish Coach McNair success, man, and for him to get back into a head coaching job the way that he deserves to be.
Delaware State.
Yes.
Shout out to Kyra.
Shout out to – she made it happen.
She made it happen.
It's
Kyra
the
did
Kyra Bowl.
It
is
is.
what we're going to call
That's
it.
what we're calling it. I asked her. That's why we have the Hawaiian church, the Hawaiian church, right? Because Kyra is going to take Delaware State all the way to Hawaii for a football game.
All the way.
First time since the 70s that HBCU has traveled off of the mainland to the islands for a football game. This all comes about. It's a week 0 matchup. Oregon was wishy-washy on the matchup with Hawaii. Hawaii needed somebody to fill in. They say, you know what, Delaware State, y'all interested? Now, I don't know if you guys know geography, but Delaware State is over there somewhere, and Hawaii is way over there somewhere. So the travel is astronomical, but Delaware State is going to make that trip. Grambling State has played Hawaii 3 times on the island, and I can't remember the other HBCU who has
I want to say it was
played.
Texas Southern.
Was it Texas Southern?
I want to say it was Texas Southern was the other school that played.
So 3 HBCUs, including Delaware State. Delaware State hadn't played them. They'll be the third. They'll be the third HBCU to play Hawaii in Hawaii. This is just a 5th time, though, a HBCU has played Hawaii. Shout out to Delaware State and those kids. It's going to be, you got to let them get to Hawaii and, like, really, really enjoy themselves. And this is to me, this is the whole point of college sports, is to create opportunities for these young men and young women that they otherwise wouldn't have. And I'm not in anybody's pockets. I'm not calling anybody broke. Getting to Hawaii is expensive. If you got a family to take over there, it is expensive. These kids are going to get to go for free and hang out with their friends, because you hang out with the people you work with, your friends on the football team. You're going to get over there. You're going to get to hang out. I know it's a business trip, but please, please, please get them over there about a week in advance. Let them hang out and have a grand time, because there's no guarantee that they'll ever get back to Hawaii. And dare I say, most, if not all of them, have never been to Hawaii.
Right.
So
right.
I look forward to them getting that
Yeah.
opportunity. That's really, really fun.
Yeah, I mean, you got just to be able to play a game, you have to be out there 5 days before, right? Just to get your body adjusted. So they will have a chance to go out there and do that. I know when Grambling went 3 times in the 70s, it was also an opportunity for the band to go there.
Yeah.
Hawaii doesn't have a high. I think I read the article. It said it was like a 3% African-American population on the island of Hawaii. But on the military base, it's almost 30% African-Americans there. So they're really using that opportunity to bring Delaware State in to galvanize the military base and have them come out and support too. And what it also does is that it gives Delaware State a recruiting opportunity for kids on the island to say, hey, we can come play at any school, at a lot of different schools there. So, it's one of those things where it's a win-win for both schools. Hawaii's going to, give them a nice check to come out there, cover travel expenses and their living and their lodging. And it's one that you definitely can't turn down. So Oregon was going to go out there, and then Oregon said, you know what, we're shifting to the Big Ten now. We're going to change up some things for whatever reason. And Delaware State stepped in and, credit Hawaii for being open enough and reaching across to have an HBCU represented in this game. I know it's going to mean something for sure. Before we get out of here, Robert Covington, Tennessee State alum, is getting inducted into the TSU Hall of Fame. He was first team All-OVC, 2-time second team OVC Newcomer of the Year. He finished his career ranked 7th on the Tennessee State all-time list in both scoring and rebounding. He is in the NBA right now. I can't remember who he plays for, but he went back to the 76ers, I believe. Okay. But he hasn't played though. He hasn't been as active in games this season for whatever reason.
Was a all NBA all defensive selection in 2019. Yep. Robert Covington getting to the Hall of Fame. Is this the right decision, Mike?
Oh, absolutely. I don't see, he's your NBA player that's represented. He's been the lone NBA HBCU player for the last 5, 6, 7 years. And he understands that role. He understands that opportunity. He went back to Tennessee State and helped them build some facilities there, for the athletic department, for a practice facility for the basketball team. So he's done a lot for that university. He's done a lot in the league. He's been on our shows. He's been, I remember Megan Triplett, who's a Tennessee State alum, is tight with Robert Covington, and he's done some of our HBCU initiatives at Grind City Media too. So it couldn't have gone to a better alumni representative of that university. He cares about Tennessee State. I want to say he's an Illinois guy, went to Tennessee State, and just loves Nashville, loves his time there, and has represented HBCUs well in the NBA.
Absolutely. Congratulations to Robert Covington. That does it for this week's show. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. We'll talk to you again next week. For Mike, I'm CJ. Everybody take care.